Hello, this is Kyle from Breqwatr. In this video, I'll be showcasing Breqwatr's ability to host virtual customer premises equipment by setting up a Juniper vSRX virtual machine and running it through a simple demo. If you're wondering where these virtual machines came from, this project, these networks, you've missed a video, I recommend you pause it and go back and watch the one where I created those. So jumping right in, I'm going to create the Juniper virtual machine. And this will take a moment. And we can see here that it is provisioning. So as soon as it's finished doing that, I'm going to add interfaces on the outside and inside interfaces, on the outside and inside networks. So the objective in this demo is first to have the vSRX routing between both networks, these two networks here. And then once I have it routing, I'm going to run a DOS attack from the attack server. And I'm going to have it hit the web server. And then once that works, I'm going to configure the Juniper machine to stop that from happening so that when I try it again, it won't work. So I'm adding the interface on the outside. Then I'm adding the interface on the inside. Alright, then I'm going to reboot the firewall. It does need to restart after you add interfaces, unfortunately. Alright, and I'm going to skip ahead a couple minutes here until the Juniper VM is finished its initial startup sequence. It's a little longer the first time. Alright, so jumping into the Juniper VM, we can see that it's finished starting up. So by default, it does not have DHCP enabled, meaning I can't get to the interface from my browser. It also doesn't have the HTTP server enabled. So I'm going to turn those on. The default username is root with no password. And we have to go into CLI mode and configuration mode. And then we want to set a password. So set system root authentication plain text password. There we go. And we can commit that. It's a good idea to commit things often because in this UI, if you make a mistake, you'll end up reverting your whole commit. If there's a way to undo just one part of it, I don't know it. Next up, we have to turn on DHCP. So set interfaces FXP0, which is the management interface. Unit 0, family iNet, DHCP client. There we go. And let's commit that. So it should be sending out a DHCP query and getting an IP now. Next, we have to turn on the web server. So set system services web management HTTP interface FXP0.0. There we go. Commit that. Enable the web server. And let's exit out of config mode and restart the web management service. There we go. It's on. And let's exit that. So I should be able to do an ifconfig fxp0. And awesome. You can see here that I've got my IP address. All right, let's go into the Windows VM. And here we are. So we are in the Juniper Web Device Manager. And from here, I can configure the interface's IP addresses so that I have routing. And then I'll also configure the DOS protection a little later. So the login, 1 second here, is root, just like before. And the password that we just created. I didn't have my focus set on this window. All right. And we're in. So let's go to configure. And then we're already there. Interfaces. And then ports. And these are our two that we've added. So we click on the plus sign and add a logical interface with a IPv4 configuration, and we'll give it an address of, let's say, 2.168.40.40. Sure. And you can see here, that's the outside network. All right. And oh, this is on the outside network. So we're going to put it on untrust. Okay. Enter a unit number, unit 0. There we are. And we'll do the same thing here. Logical interface. I'm sure it's going to want one too. There we go. And you have to commit any changes, so I'll do that. Same thing as with the command line. All right, now you can see that we assign zones to these. Those zones have settings, so I have to change those, which I do in security, and then I believe right there. So let's edit the trust zone and allow any sort of traffic like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for untrust. Now, you could do something much more fine-grained, but for the scope of this demo, we won't. So let's commit that. There we go. Now, with any luck, I should be able to ping 2.168.40.40. There we go. And this guy's on the outside, or inside, sorry. So we can see the interfaces are up. They are responding to pings. One of the things that I enabled when I selected all was ICMP. So that makes them happy. Now I need to route between the zones. So to do that, I need to allow traffic from the outside to the inside. So I go to security, then firewall policy, then rules. Yeah. And I'm going to make a new rule, untrust to trust. Like that. And it will apply to the untrusted zone. And that will be the destination. Yeah. And we'll allow it. Let's turn the IPS on. And finish. Okay. Yeah. So let's commit. Now, I don't have a route set. So what I want to do is add one like that. Okay. Now these machines know to go to the Juniper to get to their opposite subnets. So I believe I should be able to do this now. And I can. And I should be able to do this. 192.168.50.112. All right, great. So we can see that the Juniper is now routing, which is what we want. So next up, I'm going to do an attack. So I'm going to send a whole bunch of TCP traffic, HTTP traffic, in fact, to the web server. So let's do a TCP dump on all the interfaces. It doesn't matter. Like that, and watch the traffic come in. So we can see it. It works like that. And then I'm going to do a hping3, which is a tool that will let me do the attack I want to do. 192.168.50.112, like that. And I'll run it for a few seconds. Yeah. So 75% packet loss. A lot of it went through though. And yeah, so that's what that looks like. You can see the TCP dump goes crazy. So if I go back to the zones, objects, zones, and I go to the screen and edit this, I turn on all sorts of security features. Let me just reference my notes real quick. Main tab, do nothing. Denial of service tab. I want to turn on like that. The anomalies tab. I'll do SIM flood protection. This. For flood defense, I will turn everything on, and I'll make the thresholds 100. Major timeout 50. These are really arbitrary. If you were an application owner, you would tune this to your liking. And we'll apply this to untrust. There we go. And we commit. All right, give it a moment. And so we can see here, I can still curl, but significantly less traffic is going to come through this way. You can see here 98% packet loss. Whereas before, I think maybe a quarter of the traffic was making it through. Now it's a 50th of the traffic. You can tune it however you like. But that's really the gist of it. And so concludes this demo.